Hey, everybody, it's Just a Guy with a Beer. It's Monday night, 8 o'clock. You know that's time. And I'd like to welcome you all, episode number 32 of Just a Guy with a Beer with Scott Fryer. I am Scott Fryer. And tonight, my guest is Tox Mike. Tox Mike is Mike Zaccaro from Tox Brewing in New London, Connecticut. We're going to be talking about your awesome brewery, the awesome whole idea of your brewery, and the amazing beers you guys make. Episode number 32 of Just a Guy with a Beer. Start. This is episode 32, Just a Guy with a Beer. It's Monday night, March the 1st. Feels like we've been stuck in March for about a year now. Mike.
Yeah, seriously. 2 weeks. Need a beer now more than ever.
2 weeks to flatten the curve, turn into a year. I mean, we're doing better, and it's great to see that you guys are back. Your tasting room is back open again.
Yeah.
There the other day, and it was awesome. And I'm so happy that you and so many of my friends are getting back to being as normal as possible, I guess, semi-normal, normal as possible.
It feels so good, man. I mean, our tasting room was closed for a long time, and just it feels good to have purpose to that space again. Just our regular customers in there, a lot of new ones. It's really nice.
Yeah, you guys built another great following because you did some awesome things during the shutdown. Well, I'd say shutdown, but the quarantine period time. But yeah, man, I'm happy to have you here at the Epicure Brewing Studios, and we did get together December 30th over at BIOPS. And it was, to say the least, it was loud in there.
Yeah. I feel so bad because you kind of went out of your way to do that while we were going to be there. And the acoustic, it was a beautiful place. Just the acoustics aren't conducive to this kind of format. But that was already 3 months ago. That's
a great atmosphere in there. And you guys had a tap takeover that night.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had so many great beers that night too. And we talked a lot about them. But unfortunately now, I don't know if you caught my promo earlier. I'm on a little sabbatical right now. So those beers I drank, my last beer that I had for 31 days was Lily of the Valley or Rasperry. So that's my last beer till April 1st minimum.
That's great. Yeah, it's really good to do that. You need those like kind of purges every now and then. I got a toddler here upstairs. Actually, God bless my wife. She's trying to put him to bed right now, but I try to limit it to certain days a week or, take a few weeks off here and there and work out a little extra hard. But yeah, Lily Rasperry. I hope you liked it. Available now.
I loved it. Are you guys out of it now?
No, it's crazy though. But the curbside was great for us. As you mentioned, through the quarantine, we kind of were open and closed based on the COVID cases. Our tap room's very small. And just trying to be, set a positive example in, among our industry. Like when things are really bad, we just weren't comfortable opening, if COVID cases are really bad, just for the safety of our staff with our tiny tap room, we weren't comfortable having 20 people sitting in that tiny space without masks on, which is less than our, reduced occupancy would allow. And so, we were out closed from Thanksgiving-ish until 2 weeks ago. And, in that time, just doing curbside pick 'em in cans. And yeah, so now that we're open and people can actually come in and try the beer for the first time and do flights, we've noticed that there's a lot more like excitement about the cans we have. And they've been going a little faster than they had been all winter. It's also, we're coming out of slow season for our industry. So it's moving pretty quick. So get it while you can.
When I was there Thursday afternoon, I was there for like 2.5 hours and you guys kept walking by me, bringing stuff to the curb, and people there was a stream of people coming in and out, picking cans out of the cooler, and it was great. It's great to see, man. I love it because you guys suffered a lot, as well as the other breweries around and all over the country. Really suffered a lot during this because you had so many restrictions put on you, and it's your livelihood to have customers coming in drinking your beer. And that's how you get people to drink your beers. You get them to, hey, I want to go to check out this place. And that's why I started this show, because I wanted to get, people that may not have heard of Tox Brewing. They're watching my show, or like, hey, I want to go check that place out. That's why, we put the website and your address there, so people really need to go there, because listen, it's not like you said, it's not a giant place. Like, it's not on we're not driving up the hill to Treehouse.
Yeah, right.
Your place is small, and it's cozy, and it's welcoming, and you got the couch in the corner, and the great art all over the wall, and it's a really cool place. You guys did a great job decorating. I love the theme, which we'll get into, because I love the story behind that. So so let's talk about how you guys got started. Let's now you and your brothers, you have your co-owners. There's three of you, right?
So there's two of us that own the place, but there's three of us founders. So my partner in the business is Dane Lasky, Dr. Lasky. He's an actual working toxicologist. He's, he would never say it, but he's brilliant in his field. And, he just has this excitement and this expertise in natural toxicology, whether it's things with medicinal, actual active ingredients that occur in nature, or just toxic, mushrooms, poisonous plants, animals, things like that, antidotes. And so he's just so jacked up on this stuff. We would just be brewing in the garage for the past 10 years or whatever, and he would always be talking about this stuff, and some of it just lend itself to really cool imagery or had really cool names, street names, and we just started naming our beers after it. And we just, we went to some homebrew competitions and started homebrewing as Tox Brewing. And when we went to make our commercial transition, we were like, screw it, let's just stick with it. It's who we are. Why change? And people have really embraced it. And it's a little weird when you first hear it, but people love it. And so a lot of our flagships, I don't know, like we started out of the gate with placebo effect, which, scientific term, but angel wings is a mushroom, and dart frog is a little toxic, cute rainforest animal. That's our logo. Lily of the Valley, Devil's Trumpet, just a lot of these are named after toxic plants and animals. And it's been really cool. And we met an artist who has really embraced the imagery and done some really cool things for us, from our logo to all of our can labels. And the third guy is John, who is at the time was the most talented and knowledgeable brewer of the three of us. And just when we went to make the commercial transition, he couldn't commit to an ownership level, but he's still, I call him the Oz behind the curtain, because he's still very involved. He technically, helps with all the recipes and all the designing the beers, and kind of, he works in our tap room Friday nights, but he's just as big a part of it as Dane and I are, and been with us since the beginning.
That's great. And you have a pretty good sized team there. It's not just the three of you.
Yeah. We have a huge, not huge, but a huge part of us is, Tucker works with me in the brew every single brew day, and does most of the cellar work at this point by himself, because I'm always getting distracted with administrative stuff. We have another full-time guy, Zach, who is every canning run. He actually hand labels every single can. He's already done almost 10,000 for the year, which, we have a little tabletop labeler, and he just every single one spins them through until wee hours of the night. And then we have a great staff up front, just started as friends and family. We've expanded and have a really solid handful of employees. You talked about the quarantine. Like, it was really important for Dane and I to, you talk about the restrictions and just the struggling that small businesses have endured, and having a great group of people that you employ is just such a great motivator to just be creative and adapt. Like with all the restrictions, it's like you understand why they're in place, and somebody thinks it's for the best of everyone, and you can argue the logic behind it, but at the end of the day, like as small businesses, just being creative and adapting, like overhauling our business model overnight from being taproom driven business to like, all right, well, now we're doing curbside pickup and cans, and pre-order online. And we were lucky enough to get a canning line just before pandemic, so that was really an excuse to get really dialed in with it and kind of ramp up our packaging game. But yeah, so we're just under 2 years in, like you said, how we got started, and we've already grown our fermentation space 80%. We have a canning line now. We've doing some stuff with 12% Beer Project, which has been really exciting. And
yeah, it's excellent, by the way. It's very good.
Thanks. Yeah,
I've had a couple of those, and you guys was right up there. That whole thing was a great idea. So
yeah, it's great for us because it gets us we have our demand on site doesn't allow us to distribute at all. So it's a great way to expose our product to new people. And the feedback on the first batch we did was so overwhelming, but shout out to 12%. It's been such a pleasant experience. We've been talking to them for months and months and finally pulling the trigger on it. It's been really exciting.
Yeah, those guys are pretty cool. I've been talking to the guys from Abomination because you guys let's talk about that for a second. You guys did an awesome collab with Abomination. Because first of all, forget the beer just for 1 second. That can art is spectacular, dude. They kill the can art game.
They do.
You guys are doing it. There's a few of them, like you guys, Abomination. I like a lot of Epicure's can art. I like. Ever heard of 18th Street Brewing?
I've heard of them. Where are they again?
I wish I knew. I have I have my can art wall of fame over here to my right.
Yeah,
and I have a couple of their cans. There's more like it's kind of like along the lines of Abomination, like a horror theme. They're mostly centered around Satan. It's kind of weird, but their can art is so cool.
Hey man, Tox is weird too. Tox is weird. It's like. It's a can art. It's 8 inches by 4 or 5 inches, and it's just such a cool just canvas for art. I mean, there's artists out there who, just are doing these really creative things, and it's just a great canvas to get someone's creativity into thousands and thousands of hands. And we've gotten so much compliments on it. And those Abomination guys, we became Instagram friends, and they're just personalities. They take the beer seriously, but not necessarily themselves, just goofballs like us. And we joke around with them a lot. We finally pulled the trigger. They invited us down there for a collab, and that was kind of a taste of the 12% process for us. And it was really cool. They really spearheaded that. They had the idea for the beer. We helped them put the recipe together and kind of, pulled it all together as a group. But yeah, those guys are awesome. We want to get them up to New London to host a collab or do something again with them. It's fun to collab with friends, people that you're friends with. That's the best part. You learn off each other. You get to hang for a few days.
I'm trying to get them on the show. Their schedule is crazy, just like everybody's. All you guys have crazy schedules, and then we were scheduled for a thing, and then the microphone port on his laptop broke. He promised me that he was going to come on. He's very excited about it, and they're one of my favorites. Again, with the can art, you speak of 12%, is also Hoof Hearted makes them fantastic. Oh, yeah. Their can art is pretty awesome too. Just the name, it's silly just because you get the name, and
I love their art. It's got like that Beavis and Butthead or like King of the Hill vibe to it. It's funny. You talk about microphone ports. I should admit that I only have one USB port on my newfangled laptop, so I was scrambling before I got on to get my wife's Chromebook into it because I need one for the microphone interface. And
that's what I used to think about.
Yeah, I knew about this stuff like 10 years ago in college, and I've just been so removed from it. I feel like I'm technically illiterate with this computer stuff.
Now you guys go back to the can art just for a second. Actually, even before that, I would like, if people didn't know, when you did your collab with Abomination, it was a matcha. It was weird. Like, I poured the beer, and I knew what I was getting coming into it because you guys have great social media presence. That's how I always know what kind of beers you guys. Your social media is killing it.
Yeah, thanks. It's a huge part of it, man. Being able to utilize that, it's a free marketing tool, and it's everything these days. I mean, but yeah, so the matcha, they that's how it started. They're like, we were throwing around names for Toxic Earth. They have that what is it? Something Earth. I forget what it's called, but they have that beer that's I think it's a big double IPA, and when we were talking about the name of it, they're like, well, we wanted to mess with matcha powder and something. So, matcha is it's like a Japanese green tea powder, and it's super herbal and earthy. And so building the recipe to complement and both counteract that and bring everything in balance was the challenge. That's why you had the honey and the vanilla and the lactose in there. And I mean, it was 9.5% with a bunch of citrusy hops. So, and then dialing in the matcha so it wasn't overwhelming, because, people want the hype. They want that really juicy IPA. So to get it, the color looked like baby poop, but like,
it was cool.
It was poured like green. It was wild, but just I knew tie that all in.
I knew that it was coming because I saw you guys on social media. I saw that it was green. As immediate the can art immediately. I 100% admit that I am that guy. I will definitely pick beers off the shelf based on the can art.
Hey, wine drinkers have been doing that for decades, man. I mean, I'm the same way. You know, it'll get you to at least try it once, and that's our goal. Like pick this can up off the shelf once, or come into our brewery and buy a can once, just to because you're intrigued by the art, and we'll do the rest. Like if you can back that up with a really great product, it'll, you know.
And then you guys are doing exactly that. And when I drank that matcha, I was like, at first I will admit, I was like, nah, this isn't good, man. This isn't a what do they call that? This isn't a good mix. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm also that guy who, even if I drank it once and I set it back and I had the other 3 cans and I was like, I don't know. And then like 2 weeks later, I went back and I said, I'm gonna give it another chance, because sometimes you got to rest your,
Yeah,
and they get better with age. And I had the second one. I'm like, wow, okay, this is a completely different flavor. Maybe it was something I ate before I drank the first one, but I completely liked the other 3. I drank them all. Like I just banged all 3 down right after.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, that's why I said when you said, oh, they're like 9.5%. I'm like, oh yeah, I know.
Yeah. That's the thing, like, you know, with beer, you know, people talk about this fresh window with IPAs, and there's some truth to that, but you know, a beer doesn't get bad with age, unless it's oxidized or something. It just changes. So, you know, that's the best thing about getting a 4-pack, whether it's from us or Treehouse or Abomination. Like drink one the night you get it, drink one 2 weeks later, just see how it evolves over time. If a little malt character slides in and the bitterness backs off for some of that, and you know, the hop flavor might evolve or change a little. And I don't know, that's one of the great things about craft beer. There's so many variables that, you know, you're gonna get a 4-pack and see how it changes, or temperature too. I think people, you know, you probably see in our social media posts, I'm always like encouraging, especially with the stouts and some stuff, to let it warm up or sip it slowly as it warms, and kind of see how the flavors evolve. You know, we can only have our tap lines to one temperature with our system, and it's tough, but like, you know, I feel like people are always drinking beer way too cold, and it's good to start it cold and just see where it goes from there.
Yeah, so the stout that you guys have on tap right now, it's the coffee one.
Yes.
That one, I had it the other day and it was fantastic. Like you said, I let it sit for a little bit after you poured it, and I let it sit for a few minutes, and I mean, it wasn't like freezing cold, but it wasn't room temperature either. But whatever temperature you served it at, it was absolutely perfect, and it brought out the actual great flavor. I was really blown away by that.
That's one of my favorite beers we make, and it's I'm just a coffee whore, excuse my language. I love coffee, and
Yes.
not even for the caffeine. It's such a complex culinary art. There's beans from all over the world, and the roast level. It's kind of like beer. Like even within a single ingredient, all the variables of how you use it matters. And that's one of the oldest recipes. So we actually roast all the coffee in-house right at Tox Brewing. We have a coffee roaster. We built it. And John, you know, the kind of the third head of Tox, actually, that's one of our oldest combined recipes. I would make the milk stout in my garage, and we would tinker with single origin coffee, and he would roast it in his kitchen. And when we were scaling up, I'm like, John, you're roasting 8 ounces of this. I need 20 pounds of it now, or whatever, you know, based on the batch size. And like, we got to figure it out. So we actually found plans to build a coffee roaster out of a new gas grill, where you get a rotisserie kit and a roasting basket. It's really cool. And we didn't miss a beat. So we rotate that one through. This last batch you had was with El Salvador coffee, which we had a similar El Salvador bean about a year ago. One of the batches we did that just blew us away, that we were waiting for it to get back into season. So that's one of the fun parts with that beer too, is playing with different coffee.
Yeah, it was excellent. I just recently, maybe like the last 3 or 4 months, I've gotten into the stouts. Like I was never a stout or a porter guy, but I actually, over at Epicure, they had a couple of good ones that I tried, just because I go over there and I want to try everything that they got to offer. I'm like, wow, this is really good. Now, especially any kind of stout made that has coffee flavor in it, I'm here for it, man. Like they made
coffee. Coffee is bitterness, and it also has a lot of like these chocolatey, nutty, you know, especially if you get Central and South American. If you go African, you know, you can get some really earthy, spicy berry notes in there. And a lot of those flavors mesh nicely with some of the specialty and dark malts that you use in a stout or a porter. So that's why those are such common pairings, and it's fun.
Great. Well, listen, we're gonna take a quick commercial break.
Sure.
Back, let's talk more about your specific can art, and we'll talk more about some of the other great beers you guys got going on over there at Tox.
Yeah, definitely.
Great.
Let's do it.
Awesome. So this portion of the show is sponsored by Willimantic beers and their fantastic menu at www.willimanticbrewingcompany.com. We'll come back and we will talk more with Mike from Tox right after this. You're watching Just a Guy with a Beer, episode number 32.
If you're in the market for a used vehicle at a great price, head over to GNS Auto Sales in Franklin, Connecticut and take a look at their great selection. BMW, Audi, Dodge, Chevy, Ford, and so much more. And whether it's an oil change, brake repair, or the check engine light, let Pat, Wendy, and their team of professionals take care of all your automotive needs. That's GNS Auto Sales located in Franklin, Connecticut. Give them a call at 860-383-0050 or find them on the web at www.gnsautosales.llc.com.
Have you got a taste for exquisitely crafted beer and pub grub with a foodie flair? Then These Guys Brewing Company on Franklin Street in Norwich, Connecticut has got what you're craving. Enjoy a variety of classic and unique craft beers brewed on site and indulge in a delicious meal with seasonal dishes from their scratch kitchen. And check them out on Facebook or online at theseguysbrewing.com to stay up to date with their freshest brews, current menu, and upcoming events. These Guys Brewing Company, where it's all about good times, great food, and fantastic craft beer.
Hey, do you hear that? That's the sound of people getting together and having a good time. These are some of the sounds that you're gonna hear when you visit Epicure Brewing on Franklin Street in Norwich. Epicure is a craft brewery that wants you to experience friends, a lot of laughter, and of course, Epicure's craft beers on tap. Bring your friends or come down and make some new ones while enjoying the freshest quality beer in the area. Epicure Brewing is located at 40 Franklin Street, Norwich, right in the heart of the historic district of Norwich. Check out Epicure Brewing on the web at epicurebrewing.com, as well as finding them on Facebook. So come on down and add your voice to the sounds you hear in the background right now. Follow the hashtag Epicure Brewing for life.
Unify is a local full-service marketing and branding agency that helps your business strategize, develop, and implement a marketing plan using the best platforms and materials to connect you with the right customers quickly. Find them on Facebook at Unify CT or on Instagram at Unify_CT or call Laura directly at 860-326-6003. Strategize, develop, and connect. That's Unify. Steelfoot Clothing is the first 100% veteran sales team owned by two local Connecticut combat wounded veterans. Every garment is designed, printed, sold, handled, and shipped only by veterans. We source our products 100% made in the USA and believe if you have a flag on your shirt, that shirt should be made in the United States, period. Killfoot Clothing Company, American made, American proud.
Do you have a junk car or maybe one that got blown up and caught on fire? The guys from Scrap for Cash, they don't care. They're going to come to you. They're going to tow it away for free, and then they're going to pay you $275 for it. Scrap for Cash will turn that heat in your backyard into money so you can pay bills, taxes, groceries.
A night on the town.
Find Scrap for Cash on Facebook or call 860-373-2556. Scrap for Cash.
The Ideal Skate Shop on 175 Central Avenue in Norwich, Connecticut is more than just your average skate shop. They offer an amazing selection of one-of-a-kind, hard-to-find vans you won't find anywhere else. Into disc golf? Well, come on in and check out their amazing stock of top-line discs. And in addition to custom skate decks, accessories, and parts, they carry local handmade merchandise from small businesses. That's the Ideal Skate Shop, 175 Central Avenue, Norwich, Connecticut. Give them a call at 860-334-5277 or on Facebook and Instagram at Ideal Skate Shop, Norwich. All right, we are back here, episode number 32, Just a Guy with a Beer with Scott Fryer. I am Scott Fryer. I'm here with Mike Zaccaro from Tox Brewing out of New London, Connecticut. And we've talked a little bit about some of their amazing beers they got going on over there. And, I did want to say one thing I wanted to ask you earlier, but these kind of shows are always kind of like off the cuff. You just start talking and whatever comes up, you just talk about it. Even though I write down like a whole list of things I want to ask you. Why did you pick New London, Connecticut?
It was actually pretty intentional. So we're all from Ledyard, which is, they call it Cowtown. It's or Foxwoods isn't deep Ledyard, but people in the area probably know where it is. But we all are graduates of Ledyard, and New London was one of our hangouts growing up. It's just this cool city that's always on the cusp of this really cool, nightlife and art scene, whether it's culinary, craft beverage, or just fine arts. I mean, there's cool music venues and just really cool dive bars with it's just a cool scene, and we love it. And plus you have the Coast Guard and the Navy, as you know, is right there. So we love that we're surrounded by just toss salad of service men and women. You have the casinos, you have Mystic, and I don't know, this New London County, but New London specifically, we just always really loved, and we just couldn't believe there was no brewery. I mean, you look at other cities in the state the size have 2 or 3 at this point. I mean, you're Norwich, right? It's similar size city. There's a couple breweries there and a couple good ones, and we love the city, and we wanted to do it here. And you always hear that New London's a difficult city to work with. It was a super pleasant experience with the city, and finding a space, and then the proximity to the highway. And so like all these things, like we love the city. It's got a cool atmosphere, and it's just not fishing in a barrel, but it's a convenient place for us because it's ripe for the market. It was long overdue to host a craft brewery, and I think the community was ready for it. And it's right off the highway. I mean, you could walk to I-95 from where we are, and we've had this great following in Rhode Island now because of it. People are like, oh, there's a new Costco in East Lyme, and I stop on my way back from Costco because there's no Costco in Rhode Island. Or we did a collaboration with Long Live, which was a really fun experience.
Yes.
One of my guys are awesome.
And one of my favorite Rhode Island breweries. So Proclamation too. Proclamation and Long Live, man. They're killing it. We also just their Buttonwood too.
Buttonwood's great. You have Tilted Barn. There's so many, and that was a crazy experience. I mean, I was a fan of them, an admirer of what they did, and randomly got an Instagram message like, hey, our customers keep bringing us your stuff. We love it. They keep saying we should collab. What are you doing September 8th? Or something like that. I was like, holy crap. I showed my wife, I'm like, look, Long Live wants to collab. And Armando was such a gracious host, and we put the recipe together. It was such a good time. And once COVID chills out, he said he'd come to New London to brew with us. So
I look forward to that, because that last one you guys did was very good, and they do great stuff too. And I say this probably every other show, that Connecticut and Rhode Island don't get enough credit. They don't get enough love in the beer game, because everybody likes Fox Farm. I mean, Treehouse and Trillium, and everybody. You go up north into Maine, and you have all those great places up in Maine, and you have Vermont. But no one gives. I don't think Connecticut gets a fair shake. Rhode Island as well. And there's so many great spots. You have you guys. You have Tox. You have Fox Farm is so good just in our area. These guys, Epicure, Outer Light, Niantic Public House makes great beers. There's so many great places, and people just don't know about.
You ask about New London, and New London. I mean, our area. We're so fortunate to have our closest breweries be so good. I mean, you talk about like Fox Farm is right up Route 85. It's 15 minutes away, and they've been so gracious. Like they're awesome people. And we have Outer Light and Beard, and
I forgot Beard. I didn't mention. No slight to them. It's just things were just rolling.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's like that's the thing. There's so many good ones you can't even name them all, and it's not even a competitive community. It's like we've been talking to Outer Light about doing a collab with them because we have the same anniversary weekend, and that's going to happen. It's like it's just such a friendly community, and the Brewers Guild is such a strong support system for everyone to network and be friends. And yeah, I think what you said about Connecticut beer scene is it's such a young, burgeoning scene. I mean, you talk about 10 years ago, there were 10 breweries in the state. Now there's over 120 or something crazy like that. And while Connecticut isn't fiscally the best business friendly state. The permit structures that for craft breweries, I mean, they've been changing a little, and we'll see where it goes, but has been so great for craft breweries to be able to open. I guess Two Roads was very integral in pushing some, kind of legislation to make that happen. But like, we can self-distribute, we can, serve full pints in our tap rooms you go to other states, it's like, these are real challenges where people like, oh, I can't serve a full pint, and, I can only do samples unless I have a full kitchen. Or Rhode Island right now is trying to increase the amount they can carry off site direct to consumers.
That's crazy. Then we go to Proc, because Proc is another one of my favorites.
You can get a case, right? Not even.
Yeah. By the way, have you had their 42 beer yet?
I have not.
I had it the other night at a place right down the road from Tilted Barn called Back 40. I don't know if you're there.
Yeah,
right
I've driven by it.
That place is awesome. You should go there. Take your wife there. It's great.
I will.
Their beer is mostly Rhode Island beer, which I love. They're treating their local people right.
Yeah.
And they Tilted Barn though. It was kind of weird because they're literally like you could hit Tilted Barn with a rock from.
Yeah, it's right there. I wonder, Tilted Barn was so small, and I know they have a beautiful expansion, which I can't wait to go check out. But who knows what kind of capability they have to distribute? I mean, we get asked all the time about at least cans and kegs, and we can do so limited amount of it. It's different for everyone. But Proclamation, so sad to hear that they just lost their founder and owner to cancer.
Sad.
But then you talk about the amazing of the beer community, like Trillium put together that fundraiser beer for him, and it's just everyone. It's just such a great community. And I've been such a fan of Proclamation. I used to go line up when they were in the lumber yard in Kingstown, and line up for the alpaca bottles. They just did another alpaca bottle, and my buddy picked one up for me. I can't wait to try it. But so making beer is one thing, but deep down, I'm a beer nerd, whether it's brewing or trading beer or driving up to Hill Farmstead to get one bottle because I was all hyped up. Just, you talk to some brewers that all they want to do is talk about making lagers and crispy boys and get back to traditional stuff. And one thing I love about being at Talks with me and the few people that are involved with the process is like, we really do love all beer. Like, we'll make the hype fruity sours and the New England IPAs and the pastry stouts, but we really put an emphasis and put a lot of effort into traditional styles too, right? A lot of breweries, you won't find a ESB or, we just brewed a Bach the other day, like, awesome. At the same time as a pulpy fruited sour and this under the same roof. And I think one of the strengths for us is not even strengths, but one of the things that I'm really proud of is our interest in everything. And I think being able to tackle all that, whether it's getting the right fermentation variables on a really traditional lager, or how do we get more marshmallow in our big dumb fruited sour? It's like all of that makes you a better brewer, right? And it makes you a better member of the industry, and being able to adapt to trends and just push your limits in every direction. And I think that shows. I'd like to think it shows in the quality across our different styles. I mean, we
definitely. You guys are all over the map with your beer style. I mean, like I have a weird beer taste. Like I just started drinking the stouts a lot.
No such thing as a weird beer taste.
You're right. Yes, but
there's a beer for everyone.
Like I came in and I really, really wanted the Rasperry. I drank the Rasperry. Amazing. But my favorite beer you guys have made my Lily of the Valley Red is my favorite.
Great. Hey, shout out to Tucker. I'll be honest, those aren't necessarily the most interesting beers for us at this point because, we really struck gold. We weren't kettle sour brewers at home, and not struck gold. I mean, we put a lot of work into it and really found a groove with those styles. And at a certain point, it's like you're making the same beer over and over again and trying to change. The most fun thing about those beers is the flavor combinations. It's like a marketing thing. It's like, how can we simulate something, whether it's strawberry lemonade or fruit punch, like in the red one, or peach cobbler. And that's what we have the most fun with those. And last time I made a huge spreadsheet, and all the core people that work there, it's like, what should we do? Like, start throwing stuff out. And Tucker said, let's make a red one. And Zach said, let's make a strawberry lemonade one. And Rasperry was my idea. And Dane wanted to do a pomegranate one. And, so it was like a big team effort. And, that's the most fun thing about those beers. It's like, let's just get everyone involved. What do you want to see? What do you want to do? And, it's fun to incorporate everyone into the process when you can, because sometimes it feels like the retail side is a little isolated from the production side. And we'd like to get more involved. We want to start doing some of those Pink Boots brews. I know Epicure has a strong presence with that. Same with Outer Light. It's such a great thing to see women get involved with that side of the business.
Absolutely. I had Mariah on from Outer Light. We did a Pink Boot special over the summer, and I had the girls from Pink Boots on. And it was great. I loved having them on, and they bring such a great fresh ideas and just a great attitude and a whole different level of energy to the brewing scene. And I think it's
absolutely
cool. I mean, everybody, I will say every single person that I have met, and we talked about the beer community. I'm just getting started on this. I know I have 32 episodes, but I'm still getting started. I haven't even been doing this a year yet. And every single person that I have met has been over the top supportive of me and very willing to share their story with me and my friends that are people that watch. I started off, it was just me and my friends, assing off on the internet.
Yeah.
This just actually turned into, hey, I'm out there, I'm helping, just like you guys brewing beers. You're assing off with your friends, you're brewing beers, and now you have a super successful brewery. But I'm hoping I can achieve your level of success with my podcast. But I want to do it that way.
Well, let me compliment you, because you hear from a lot of people, we review your beer, come on the show, and your level of support and interest from the beginning. And, it was never the right time. We were always just busy with some broken piece of equipment or, having babies or just whatever. And you've been so persistent. It's fun to finally get to a point where it's like, be able to do this. And even through pandemic, it's been, and the support and the, the willingness to put us out there and, help, send people our way, or, the exposure that you provide to craft breweries is great. And through pandemic, I mean, I've been taking the quarantine pretty seriously. My wife and I are both essential workers, and we have a toddler that has to go to daycare, so hasn't seen his grandparents in a year. And it's trying to do it as safely as we can. And I look at the outpouring of support. Like, we have customers that come through weekly, whether it's the drive-through because they want to be safe, or coming to the tap room. And I'm just like, this, when your customers make you want to be better, it's like, wow, they are coming to support us during a global pandemic, and they're enthusiastic about our product and our, and what we're trying to do. And it's like, I hope I'm that good to some business. We support our favorite restaurants and other breweries and stuff. Right. So it's really a reflection, when your customers can be a reflection on how you yourself can be better. It's just really exciting. And these are the times where you realize that. So, whether it's you with your podcast and what you're trying to achieve, and you're certainly busting your ass and working hard. And it's been fun. Every now and then I'll be laying in bed, tinkering on the laptop with some recipe or sending an email, and I'll see, Scott's live, and I'll pop in and watch for as long as I can. And I love it. It's fun.
And I, thank you for that. I appreciate that, because that's why I do this, because I want people to come on, and it's an odd time. It's a Monday night at 8:00, but I do my podcast Monday because I can cater to the people that I want to come on my show. I know traditionally Mondays are days off for breweries, for the most part, or you have a brew day or whatever, so you're free. So that's why I kind of tailored it that way. I don't get 1,000 views. People are, I don't have 100 people watching me. But people watch me out through the week. I go and I look at my numbers, and I'm approaching 1,000 downloads. And I was like completely blown away when I saw, holy shit, I have 1,000 downloads. I have 978 or 72 downloads.
You not only that, you showed me a map where you're like had people watching in Europe and stuff. Like, that's incredible.
I have a guy who watches me in Amsterdam. He watches every episode.
Well,
you go in a second, and that dude's in there watching. He watches my other episode. He downloads it. And I think I want to go to Amsterdam and meet this dude.
Yeah, shout out to your friend in Amsterdam.
Have him on the show. But no, literally, I do this because I believe in what you guys are doing, and it was kind of cool because I try to take the good things out of the bad things. Like the pandemic has been terrible for a lot of people. They've lost family members, they lost friends. But I try to see the good parts of it. Like, I got this out of the pandemic. I was bored one day, and if my friends that are watching remember, about probably around April, May time, I was bored here at home. So I have a giant beer fridge full of good beers. So I'm going to start banging into this beer fridge.
Yeah. You want to talk about it, right?
Netflix, right? And I'm going to go on Netflix, and I'm going to watch a movie, and I'm going to go and sit on the deck in the nice weather after supper, and I'm going to talk about the movie I watched that day and review a beer. And that's how I got started with this. And someone he said, you should do a podcast about beer, which actually was cool because I was trying to start a podcast about something and I didn't know, because my friend Mike Minarski, who owns the radio station, he's pushing me you need to do a podcast. You got a good voice, you have a good energy, you should figure something out where you could do a podcast. And I didn't want to do a sports podcast because there's so many sports podcasts, and I'm a huge sports fan, but I didn't want to be like everybody else. So I thought about doing like a veterans podcast, but then it's a struggle getting, trying to find a veteran that wants to come on and talk about that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
well, you know what? I'm a beer guy, so I'm just let's go do a beer. And then I call her my sister. She's not really my sister, but my sister Chris, she's has 2 kids who are they're like my own children. Her daughter Sarah said, "You should call it Just a Guy with a Beer." And now here I am, 10 months later, 1,000 downloads, 1,000 followers, Just a Guy with a Beer. That's that's kind of, everybody has a similar story. Like when I talk to breweries, that's kind of hey, we were just tinkering around, something I love to do.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
very
that's
passionate
what starts
about.
for breweries.
Exactly. And then when you say those kind of things, like, it means a lot to me because I do put a lot into this.
Yeah,
Emily will tell you that I don't shut up about it because I get excited. I got talks coming on. I'm super excited, and I will let me just say thank you to you. I came in there Thursday. I was almost desperate when I saw you. I don't know, you remember we had that conversation. A good friend of mine who owns Rhythm Brewing Company, she had a surprise for her. Elisa, do you know Elisa?
I met her. She came into the tap room once around the time we were all doing the Black is Beautiful project.
She's amazing, but she turned 50 the other day, and her husband surprised her with a trip to the Bahamas. And she was like, "I'm so sorry, I can't do it on the show." I'm like, "Listen, I'll figure it out. You go to the Bahamas, man."
I saw something on her social media. I saw something on her social media. I didn't realize that she was putting you in a pinch, but hey, man, as soon as you said we could do it on Zoom, I was like, hell yeah, man, let's do it. I have a good microphone, and that's right around bedtime for the toddler. And, it just worked out. It's just, you talk about like how these things start. It's like, yeah, we're just brewing in the garage. Like, oh, we should, see what it takes to do this full time. And we kind of like were able to punk rock it with our own savings and a small SBA loan. And here we are. I'm the one to do it full time. Dane is still, he works at St. Joseph's as a professor of pharmacy up in Hartford, and then is also doing stuff in the emergency department at Hartford Hospital, toxicology stuff in the emergency department. And so naturally, me sitting in the cubicle, I was the one who had made the most sense to go do it full time, and to the tune of slicing my pay in half and doubling the hours. But every day, I still don't feel like I'm at work.
But you know what? Your hard work that you guys put into it, and that you put into it, it shows in your beer, because your beer it's a great product, and you have so many different. I love that you're all over the map with styles, and that's when I want to go. I won't ever call a brewery out, but some breweries, they like sticking to a certain style, and that kind of gets after a while. Like, I like beer. I love all beer. There's not a kind of beer that I don't like, but there are some that I don't prefer. Right? Yeah. I will go to a brewery and I'll get a flight and I'll try. If there's something on there that I've never had before, I'm trying it, right? Because you never know.
Yeah,
you never what you can like. That's what the stout thing. I didn't really like stouts, but then they started with the coffee stouts, and that I was just hooked.
Now, I'm the same way, man.
Speaking of stout, Ron is on watching. So hey, Ron, let's talk about the Sludge.
What's up, Ron? Sludge, yes.
I forgot the bottle the other day when I left. I forgot to get one. I almost was so angry when I got home.
Yeah, I'll set one aside for you next time you come in. Yeah, so the Sludge. So it's funny, you talk about breweries that may pigeonhole themselves to one style or a few styles, and that's great. I mean, it's fine. There's niche markets. That's one of the things with craft beer is there's such a wide array of beer, and as long as there's a market for you to be creative in that one facet of craft beer, like, I have no problem with that. But that's just not who we are. We're constantly wanting to push ourselves, and we keep saying, like, man, we need to up our pastry stout game. We don't have a great pastry stout game, and we have a very simple brew system. It's very manual and labor intensive. It's a single vessel with it's essentially a huge brew in a bag system for people who know that's what that is, who might be listening, it's essentially a huge 5-barrel homebrew setup. And one thing I'm most proud of is the quality of beer we've been able to do and how we've been able to manipulate that system to make really, professional tasting beer. And, so pastry stouts, like I'm a snob for stouts, and, I idolize these Midwest brewers that make these huge stouts where they'll mash 3 times and do first runnings and do these extended boils sometimes overnight, and it's not really an option in our system, but we've found ways to manipulate that process to get these really thick-bodied stouts, from mash variables to multiple mashes to shortening our sparge, and finding certain adjuncts, like certain added like powders and stuff, and unfermentable sugars that you can add. And so I was really hesitant to do a big pastry stout up until a few months ago, because I just wasn't confident in our ability to make these really thick stouts and get them tasting how we wanted, and get up that kind of 11-12% ABV range with our system. And you get your not quite 10,000 hours, but you get acclimated with your system and figure it out. And I finally felt like we were ready, so we launched this line of beers called Sludge, where they're between 10 and 12%. We're going to rotate a lot of different flavors through them. We've done like an Aztec hot chocolate one with ancho chilies, chocolate, cinnamon. And it's funny, people who complain, it's not spicy enough. And I want to tell people, ancho chilies aren't that spicy. They're smoky and sweet. And
the word chili in it, it's going to be burn in their face.
Yeah, right. So it was meant to have a smoke. It's like the Mexican hot chocolate, and there's a little kick to it once it warms up a little. And we did a raspberry, chocolate covered raspberry one for Valentine's Day. We have some other fun ones, or something with peanut butter in the mix that's going to be coming out.
Awesome.
We have another big stout we're planning, a Toxiversary. Actually, the last time you and I talked at Pie Hops, we were drinking our first anniversary stout, which was
delicious, by the way.
We put off like 9 months because we were hoping we could have a party sometime last year. And right before New Year's, it's like, all right, this isn't going to happen. We're just going to do our first anniversary stout because we want to. And most of them went into a bourbon barrel, so we got a very small yield on that one. But yeah, so we're at the point where we're feeling really confident in our stout process. I mean, still looking to improve. And I'd like to at some point get a separate mash tun so we can really enhance that process and make it, we're talking 12, 14-hour brew days minimum when we do these beers. And Tucker's with me the whole time. And so, yeah, it's been exciting. And you play with all these flavors, whether they're fruited sours or flavored stouts. And the more repetitions you get through using these adjuncts, you start to learn how they play in balance with each other. And I feel like the last few stouts we've done, even this latest batch of Wisteria, are much more balanced between the different flavors, where, like, I don't know, the first peach cobbler was all peach and no cobbler, and the second time, or key lime pie, and the second time we do those sours, we kind of feel more dialed in with that flavoring process. And I think so far with the sludges, we've gotten a good mix with the flavors, and they're nice and thick, low carbonation.
So good. I want it so bad. I'm gonna have to come down there to save it.
Yeah.
Maybe my first beer when I finish my my time out here. So listen, I'm going to take another commercial break. We're going to come back and finish up. There's a couple more things I want to ask you. You touched on a little bit, but I want to keep going on it. So we're going to come back. We're going to talk about that, and we'll close it out. You're watching Just a Guy with a Beer, episode number 32, with Tox Mike from Tox Brewing in New London, Connecticut. This is Just a Guy with a Beer, episode 32. We'll be right back.
If you're in the market for a used vehicle at a great price, head over to GNS Auto Sales in Franklin, Connecticut, and take a look at their great selection. BMW, Audi, Dodge, Chevy, Ford, and so much more. And whether it's an oil change, brake repair, or the check engine light, let Pat, Wendy, and their team of professionals take care of all your automotive needs. That's GNS Auto Sales, located in Franklin, Connecticut. Give them a call at 860-383-0050 or find them on the web at www.gnsautosales.llc.com.
Have you got a taste for exquisitely crafted beer and pub grub with a foodie flair? Then These Guys Brewing Company on Franklin Street in Norwich, Connecticut has got what you're craving. Enjoy a variety of classic and unique craft beers brewed on site and indulge in a delicious meal with seasonal dishes from their scratch kitchen. And check them out on Facebook or online at theseguysbrewing.com to stay up to date with their freshest brews, current menu, and upcoming events. These Guys Brewing Company, where it's all about good times, great food, and fantastic craft beer.
Hey, do you hear that? That's the sound of people getting together and having a good time. These are some of the sounds that you're going to hear when you visit Epicure Brewing on Franklin Street in Norwich. Epicure is a craft brewery that wants you to experience friends, a lot of laughter, and of course, Epicure's craft beers on tap. Bring your friends or come down and make some new ones while enjoying the freshest quality beer in the area. Epicure Brewing is located at 40 Franklin Street, Norwich, right in the heart of the historic district of Norwich. Check out Epicure Brewing on the web at epicurebrewing.com, as well as finding them on Facebook. So come on down and add your voice to the sound you hear in the background right now. Follow the hashtag Epicure Brewing for life.
Unify is a local full-service marketing and branding agency that helps your business strategize, develop, and implement a marketing plan using the best platforms and materials to connect you with the right customers quickly. Find them on Facebook at Unify CT or on Instagram at Unify_CT, or call Laura directly at 860-326-6003. Strategize, develop, and connect. That's Unify. Keelfoot Clothing is the first 100% veteran sales team owned by two local Connecticut combat wounded veterans. Every garment is designed, printed, sold, handled, and shipped only by veterans. We source our products 100% made in the USA and believe if you have a flag on your shirt, that shirt should be made in the United States, period. Keelfoot Clothing Company, American made, American proud.
Do you have a junk car or maybe one that got blown up and caught on fire? The guys from Scrap for Cash, they don't care. They're going to come to you. They're going to tow it away for free, and then they're going to pay you $275 for it. Scrap for Cash will turn that heat in your backyard into money so you can pay bills, taxes, groceries.
A night on the town.
Find Scrap for Cash on Facebook or call 860-373-2556. Scrap for Cash.
The Ideal Skate Shop on 175 Central Avenue in Norwich, Connecticut is more than just your average skate shop. They offer an amazing selection of one-of-a-kind, hard-to-find vans you won't find anywhere else. Into disc golf? Well, come on in and check out their amazing stock of top-line discs. And in addition to custom skate decks, accessories, and parts, they carry local handmade merchandise from small businesses. That's the Ideal Skate Shop, 175 Central Avenue, Norwich, Connecticut. Give them a call at 860-334-5277 or on Facebook and Instagram at Ideal Skate Shop, Norwich. All right, we are back in Just a Guy with a Beer, episode 32. Tox Brewing, Mike Zaccaro. Finishing up here, and we right before we went on break, we were talking about you only have the one kettle brewing system, right? It's I mean, I've been in there. It's a big system, but you guys need more because you guys should be brewing on a bigger scale. So, you guys have any plans for maybe some expansion?
Oh man, we have ideas more than we have plans. So yeah, I mean, you've been in there. We've crammed a lot of stainless steel into that. Our whole space is under 1,500 square feet. So, and a lot of that's retail. Sorry, what was that?
It's like a submarine engine room back there. All the pipes going everywhere, and it's such damn in there.
I can only imagine. You know, it was such a great space for us to start in, and we love it, and we hope to always keep it in some capacity. There's a lot of opportunity in our area, and actually, the city is looking for people to, they're looking to people to take advantage of incentives, I think, to move down towards the waterfront area and the pier. They're trying to bolster some development projects down there. We have not even talked to anyone about it, but it would be really cool to expand our retail operation and then eventually get some bigger production space. I mean, right now, for the first time in a while, our retail area is our bottleneck. I mean, before we couldn't brew enough to keep our taps full, but we've since then, once you start canning beer, you inherently move more volume. It's just a better format for beer to travel, and people are more inclined to prefer that format. But then, we've grown 80% in the back room, and now we can can and keg a decent amount of our beer, and we can only fit so many, especially with a reduced COVID occupancy, fit so many people in there. I mean, that's not a permanent problem, but so yeah, we have 2 years left on our lease, and we hope to stay some capacity in this space, whether it's can pickup and some kind of pilot system and barrel house. And I don't, we don't have, it's so hard now to get so big with so much market saturation. I mean, it's by no means saturated if you ask me, but I think there's still a lot more room than people think. What's that?
You guys, because we can still get bigger. I mean,
yeah, I think so. I think there's still,
you can never have enough craft breweries. That's just my opinion.
I'm the same way. I want them all, man. I want more and more. Like people say, oh, there's so many breweries, it's saturated. I'm like, I don't know. You wouldn't say there's so many. The pizza place market is saturated because there's 5 in your town. It's like Prohibition. That was the norm. You go to your local place and get local beer. And it's only since the end of that we've had this mindset that beer is this nationally distributed commodity where it's like macro beer, and we don't picture so many small neighborhood breweries, but that's kind of like there's so much market share that still is opportunity for small local places. And it's timing now. It's hard to become the next Treehouse or even someone like Beard in our area where those places make great products. So they've worked really hard to get to where they are. But I don't know, I feel like it's harder now for a startup brewery to get that big in an area without a kind of wide distro plan. And so who knows how big we'll end up getting. I mean, I'm just happy that all our equipment's working. We kind of wanted to do it ourselves without a huge bank loan or angel investors. And we don't have to answer to anyone. It's great. We punk rocked it ourselves. We bought crappy equipment and a small space, and we're able to make enough good beer to sell it and kind of grow out. And now we've upgraded our glycol system. It's functioning great now. We can cool and, can beer adequately. We have new, bigger tanks. And it was so funny. Last week, I was like, oh, it's so nice. Like the brewery's been working great lately. No equipment failures. Everything's finally functioning. We've been able to fix everything that was breaking. And then the day after I said that, our grain mill broke. Our homemade grain mill broke. So I had to drive, throw 20 bags of grain into my SUV and drive them out to Rhode Island and exchange them for pre-milled grain. And we're going to replace it. But it was just a funny story. But yeah. So we'd like to eventually look at it's more storage than anything else. I mean, we want to fill more barrels and be able to buy cans in bulk and be able to do other projects that require space as well as have a bigger retail. So it's more aspirations to be creative than it is just to grow and sell more beer. And, we just want to do things. So it would be really great if we could find it's important for us to have atmosphere. We didn't want to just open in an old like warehouse or metal building. And so if we could keep a kind of cool vibe and keep our toxic beer garden, we have all kinds of poison, not to touch, but like poison derived from plants we have in our patios in the warmer months. So just, it would be really cool to find that good combination of atmosphere with a retail setting and a lot more production space. And there's a lot of really cool real estate in the New London area that would be cool to take advantage of. We have our dream spots that we always talk about. And I don't know, I guess it's time with only 2 years left on our lease to really start putting a plan in place. It's just, we're always so busy tackling other problems.
Yeah, it sneaks up on you. So people that are from the area, if they don't know where Tox is, maybe you do. A lot of people do. They should. You guys took over. That's a famous spot that you guys are in right now. That was a very popular spot.
Oh yeah,
in there.
Yeah, Jacques, a guy from Belgium, built the building, and the tap room is just a rectangle cinder block building. That was the whole building in the 70s. He built it, and he owned like the whole block, and eventually built the plaza and behind us. Yeah, and I think I met him once or twice. So it was Jacques, and he had flowers, and his brother did all the fruit and produce, and he was the flower guy, and the two of them ran that business for 30, 40 years, and he eventually retired and sold the building to our current landlord, who's been very pleasant. Yeah, so we kept the Jacques sign. It's hanging on the wall in the back, and people would come in and be like, "Oh man, I used to come here. Jacques had the best peaches, or he had the best mums every fall." And it's just so fun to hear those stories because we didn't have the pleasure of visiting ourselves, but so many New London residents that come to Tox just love seeing that the place is thriving again and what we've done with it. And I'd one day love to do a Belgian style, like fruited beer and call it Jacques or something, put some peaches in it.
That would be cool.
Hey, we just started a mixed fermentation program. We took one of our small tanks that we upgraded and we somehow found room, put it on the opposite side of the room, got some dedicated equipment for it, just prevent contamination, and brewed our first mixed fermentation beer late last year, and I mean these things take months to properly do their thing, funkify, and I fully expect the first one will be a drain pour until we figure it out. But who knows? Maybe something good will come of it. It's just an experiment. That's the kind of stuff we want to do more of.
That's good. So I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
And this is for everybody, but this is more for me, but I want to share it with everybody. Are you guys bringing chips and dip back this year? I have to know.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not just up to me. The guys from Little House have to find room in their schedule of making kick-ass beer to come brew it with us, but I would love to. I may have already ordered the fruit for it. So yeah, chips and dip.
Dude, that is the craziest. Listen, so my viewers who may not have had it, I know my friends that I drink with, we've all had it because I always bring it to them and share it. Chips and dip. It tastes like you go to a Mexican restaurant and you're drinking the tortilla chips and the salsa. And I'm not shitting you.
And the margarita with it, right?
Margarita. Dude, it is the craziest, best not sipping beer, because it's not a sipping beer. It's a good, like, hot summer day.
Yeah.
Sit on your patio with your friends and just smash chips and dip. And it is so good and it's crazy. I say the word zany. It's a zany thing.
Hey,
cool.
We talk about collaborations. That's the point of them, to get weird and get crazy. And John, who I've talked about a few times, that was his idea. We were just BSing with those guys, like, oh, what should we brew? And John's like, let's do some crazy, like, tortilla chip mango salsa margarita beer. It's like, all right, cool. So then we put it together and we actually mashed in with a bunch of flaked corn and tortilla chips, and the mango and the lime zest and the sea salt, and short of actually aging it on salsa, conditioning on salsa, we try to simulate the flavor as best we can, and it's been so popular. Yeah. We did it the last 2 years, and I'd like to get it out for Cinco de Mayo this year, as long as the guys from Little House will come do it with us. But we just brewed like a winter spin-off of that over there, so everyone will have to check that out. Go to Little House. We brewed like a chips and dip, and then you have coffee and donuts for dipping. So we did like a jelly donut coffee stout over there, and I don't know when we're gonna roast the coffee for it soon. But to answer your question, as long as they're down, we're gonna brew it again and hope to have it out around Cinco de Mayo.
Great news, and I'm telling you, don't knock it. Don't say weird. That's gross. It's not. It's awesome. It's an amazing beer. If you like a Dos Equis, but you want a little flair to it,
yeah.
Tell me right now, chips and dip.
Yeah,
get my crowler ready. I'm ready.
Whether it's matcha or a chips and mango salsa and margarita beer, like, that's the fun thing with collabs, is like, just have fun with it. You're brewing with friends and you're meeting cool people, and that's the chance to get weird, because the stakes are low. It's like you're brewing together and it's a one-off thing, and batting average is surprisingly high for most collaborations, which is great. I mean, you talk about brewers that know what they're doing, but it's yeah, that's the fun thing with collabs.
Brewery, or the people like one brewery or the other, and they're like, oh, okay, cool, they're doing a collab with them, so I'll try that too. And then next thing you know, you guys are doing great together, and then you have another brewery that people are following, so you kind of helping each other out along the way. And I think
it's a great marketing tool, but it's also, we do it with people that we like, that we're friends with, right? I mean, we get asked to collab a lot, and they're fun to do whenever we can, but I like to do it with people we're friends with, that we're comfortable with. I mean, spending all day together, and yeah, it's pretty fun. The collabs are great, and those guys are awesome. So that's the thing. Like, this industry has brought us some great friends, like, that could turn into lifelong friends just over a love of a process and an industry and a creativity. And to be able to express those things together with friends is a lot of fun.
It is fun. And this is
I'm sure you get excited when you're collaborating creatively, whether it's another broadcaster or podcaster that you're friends with.
Listen, I got news on that. I have my friends from Do Not Sports, Ray Bones and Chris Not Yet Notter. Those guys, check out their podcast. It's Do Not Sports. If you're a sports fan, you got to check them out. They just started a new thing today called Forward TV. It's on YouTube. It's a channel, and it's got a whole different bunch of shows on it, but they're on there, Do Not Sports, and I'm going to be doing a collaboration with them. That's all I can say right now. It's still in the planning phases, but
that's great.
We'll be doing a sports show with them, with me and then them, and it's going to be awesome. So that's coming up soon. Hopefully by the spring, we'll have that rolling. And Mike, this has been a great time.
Yeah.
I appreciate you giving me the time, and I'm glad we got to redo what we did at Pie Hops that night.
I think we did it better this time.
We did it much better this time. I'm a little bit better at this too, because I think what I got going on with the StreamYard thing. So
yeah, better sound. You got the way you're formatting it this now. You could really get to a lot of a lot of subject matter. I don't know.
Without interruption.
It's good.
I appreciate it,
Thanks,
and it's been great.
Scott.
Guys, get to Talks Brewing. It's 635. Is that what it is?
635 Broad Street. We're right off. I don't even know the exit number. They're right off the Crystal Mall exit in Waterford, but we're right over the line into New London. Yeah, we're open Thursday through Sunday. You can pre-order online. You can even drive through and pick up cans if you're high risk. You don't even have to get out of your car. You don't even have to roll the window down. We make it pretty accommodating. But yeah, our tap room is back open. And Scott, thank you so much for your constant support and nagging me to come get on here, because it's long overdue and it's truly a pleasure. So I really appreciate it. All the support and the pumping up our brand and all you do for us and other breweries. It's really a great thing.
That's my pleasure, man. You guys are doing great things out there, and if I can help you guys just a little bit, if I can just send, I have people that I grew up with down in New Jersey are looking to come up here, and they're going to add you to their list. So that's why I do this, man. It keeps me going.
Awesome.
Thanks again, Mike. And I like to give a couple shout outs to my friend Barb, the Siren of Stout, with my awesome shirt that I got from her. You can see it.
Yeah.
Yeast unite us. And I think it's cool because we're not just talking about the beer industry, but we're talking about society as a whole. I've met so many great people, like I said, through this podcast. I had Barb on, and she's a great woman, and she does a lot of things. And I had her on for my first episode of February for Black History Month, and she was great. And we did a lot of things, and I got Elisa coming on from Rhythm Brewing, and it's so nice to see not just the women but the African American community getting involved.
Yes,
it's so awesome. And the Black is Beautiful series that came out, it's so good. My dad tried one for the first day down in New Jersey at Beach House Brewing. That's where I'm from, and I'm going to have them on at the end of the month from Belmar, New Jersey. So I can't wait to have them on. So
that's great. Yeah, that's such a cool concept, and
it absolutely is.
Yeah, that's great. I hope you'll have a great time talking with her too.
I'm just glad, and thanks again, Barb, for the shirt, because we talked. I
love that.
Today, her and I talked about it.
It's funny. I'm wearing my. I met a customer who was wearing the shirt.
Day drinking. What does it say?
Day drinking because 2020 sucks, and I'm like, I love funny beer shirts. Like, I love that shirt you're wearing. I want one. So I actually traded
sirenofstout.com.
I will do that. I'm gonna do it tonight because I traded a talk shirt for this shirt from a customer because I loved it so much. She went home, made one, and mailed it to me.
That's awesome. Barb takes care of these. She's got other great stuff on there as well. She's awesome, and she gets your stuff to you right away. So she's out in Michigan. I had my like 2 days after I bought it. So
that's great.
And she's great, and she just made a pastry stout. She collabed with a brewery out there for a pastry stout. I wanted some, but it's all sold out. So she's a celebrity out there in Michigan. So again, thank you for coming on. I just want to give a shout out to our brand new sponsor, LBP Hair Studio in Oakdale, Connecticut. Go see Jen and all her the girls that work for her for all your hair design needs. It's at www.lbphairsalonstudio or lbphairstudio.com. Again, thanks to all my sponsors. I appreciate you all. And listen, it's been an awesome night, and I'm glad we went over a little bit. And I told you I don't give a shit. You ask one go on, you just want to talk. We could go on for hours, but I'm sure you want to go watch TV and spend some quiet time with your wife.
Yeah.
Go hang out with my fans. So
let's do it again sometime.
Yeah, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to hold you to it. I want that sludge, man.
Yeah. All right, Scott. Thanks so much.
All right. Hey, listen, everybody. Please be safe. Please be healthy. And please don't beer shame your friends, man. Everybody be safe, and we'll see you guys next week. And I have a special military guest coming on. We'll see you then. Episode 32, Just a Guy with a Beer, signing off.